Welcome back to PaperTrails. It's your boys, Mohammed and Shamaki again. Yes, I'm wearing the same shirt, but I'm wearing a cap this time. Who knows? Who knows the same day? Who knows? But,
I've
today,
got nothing to hide it.
yeah.
All I did was stand up
You're
and sit
looking
down.
exactly the same. You know that one meme with a guy that says, I've lost like a amount of weight, but he just stood back. But anyways, welcome back. Today we'll be talking about a few things that have been a recurring theme throughout the season of the podcast. We have been kind of approaching a lot of things in a growth and personal development and productive aesthetic.
What? You know
Sorry,
what?
I got it the wrong way.
You know what? We've been in the
Lock
last
me up, man. Lock me up.
in the last episode, we've been saying he's in his little villain era right now. Usually he's wearing a white shirt. He's a lot more positive, but now he's got the black shirt on.
but,
He's like the black Spider-Man right now.
You know what it is, yeah.
He's forgot about aesthetic.
When you deep
all
it,
of that.
productive aesthetic is a bit different from aesthetic productivity.
Yeah, right.
The meanings kind of contradict each other. But the vibe of aesthetic productivity, we've kind of been following down. We read a few self-help books. We read a few development books. I think I don't remember what book was the first one of the season.
The feel good productivity.
Feel good productivity.
Yeah.
So do you see what we mean by theme? And I feel like it's time to review what we've learned.
Absolutely. 6 months in now, yeah?
Yeah, 6 months into the new season 4 of the podcast. I want we actually launched in the new year. I think we recorded the first episode on the first week of January or whatever, or even before. I don't remember.
It was a couple into January.
Yeah, so it was a new year. A lot of things in our lives are changing, and I guess we're kind of going through that period where we're kind of figuring where we want to be and what we want to do. And the overarching theme being we are creatives who want to become full-time creatives.
Absolutely.
We're creative people who want to become full-time professional creatives. And what have we learnt? What has stuck for you? I think I wanted to just tackle that a bit. You even talked about on the way here about some of your sleeping habits and stuff. Some of the lessons you learned. So I'll let you kick off then. Well, we read a number of books about self-help, and we've talked a lot about different things about improving our lives. And it is one of those podcasts. What you call it? Stereotypes. It's just a couple guys talking about productivity.
Yapping,
Yeah.
Paying for a whole studio just to yap.
Yeah, exactly. And what makes us different is the question.
You're asking this like a real villain right now. I don't know if that was a genuine question or
what makes us different. But the difference is aesthetic productivity. So we want to do things in a light-hearted way, which is what they would all say as well.
We got up your sleeve. Like,
what else? But I think the idea really is in terms of like learning from fiction and non-fiction. I kind of, one thing that I feel like we haven't done enough is cover more fiction books.
Absolutely.
I want to do that a bit more because I do believe in the storytelling, learning from storytelling, learning from characters that are not real. Yeah, I think that's a really beneficial thing in real life, and I think it can really help your own confidence and self-esteem as well. Absolutely. You will be surprised. I think that there's a lot of studies around that and how fiction can really help people develop, and it also develops your creativity further, your wit, the way of thinking. The idea of analyzing so many different characters, because you end up dealing with real characters in real life, and how to deal with them, but how you can also be charismatic in such a way, but also tap into your villainous side if you need.
Okay, goodness.
But what's been your main learning points of the season? What's stuck for you?
Well, firstly, I would like to say, as a little, since this is a little recap. I mean, not a recap. This is a little review of our 6 months, which is bloody flown by. It's ridiculous. But I would say definitely that we should definitely read a lot more fiction. Yeah, I feel like especially more of the guy sense. Like when people are like, oh yeah, you should read this book, you should read that book, especially if it from a guy, like the recommendation, it's
always about
mostly
habit
fiction.
building.
Yeah. But like non-fiction, I mean, but like they very seldom ever read fiction where I feel like it's like, okay, with non-fiction you can get like a very good shell of like what you should do, how you should wake up, what you should be spending your time on. And they're like, yeah, that's all I need.
And this is what works. They say this is what works.
This is what works. They love it. This is what works. Whereas I feel like when you read fiction, it fills the inside of the shell. You know what I mean? Like when you read about characters that have to overcome this stuff.
Yeah.
When you read about characters like, for example, a quote that proper like stuck out for me was one quote. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it was in Game of Thrones where one guy called Maester Aemon tells Jon Snow that he gets to a point where he has to make a really tough decision, right, to go against the normal stuff that the Castle Black people do, right, in terms of towards the wildlings. Anyways, so he basically is telling him, like, this is a tough choice. I don't know what to do. Do I take A or B or blah, blah? And he's like, well, a time will come where you have to, like, kill the boy and let the man be born.
Yeah.
So he tells him, kill the boy, Jon Snow. So, like, that kind of stuff is like, it's like, okay, here's how to make time for the things you love, right? And now the time has come to go after it. And then you might feel a bit uncomfortable to do it because you don't know if you should take that step just yet or not. Are you ready to take the step? You know what I mean? So now it's like, in that moment of time comes a quote like that, which is, okay, now you must kill the boy and let the man be born. Because eventually you're going to have to do this. And now you ask yourself, well, what is the little boy? You know what I mean? It's all the fear that you have. I say this because I wrote this all down, right?
Yeah,
all the fears that you'd have that would stop you right now from achieving what you want. So being afraid to come out of your comfort zone, anxieties, whether it's reaching out to people, how you communicate to people, even like calling out, all these other kind of stuff, like everything that would hinder towards you that you must kill from yourself is all the stuff that you would need essentially to achieve the goals. So that's what I'm saying, like in terms of like the learning. For me, what I picked up on was like a lot of the stuff, because I would normally never read non-fiction. I'll be honest, like self-help books, I wouldn't really.
Yeah. We didn't grow up reading them.
Didn't grow up reading them, yeah. So like in terms of like making time, and is that the one that had the highlights? Like make a highlight.
Make time.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Because I would make like several tasks for one day, and then I would be upset that I didn't complete all of them, even though it was good that I completed one really, really hard task.
Yeah.
But I never said that was the highlight, because I was like, I still had 3 other minor ones. But after the highlight one, I was like, okay, well, it's fine. You've done your highlight. The main one you wanted. The other ones are like, you can kind of put in the back burner, like you were saying, with the cooking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I picked up on that. But then the main one was from, as well, the Ali Abdaal book.
Feel Good Productivity.
Yeah, Feel Good Productivity, which was the sustaining aspect of it. So like recovery.
Yeah.
Which brings me on to this.
Yeah.
Imagine if we said we were sponsored by Whoop
one
day. But now
you have a sponsorship coming up. What's going on there?
Hello. But like so yeah, I got myself a cheeky Whoop, which I was telling Mo about in the car a little bit. So
can I hold you on that thought?
Go on.
All right. So before you go into that, let's hold that thought. I think I think the Jon Snow thing, very good point. So I think we skimmed a bit over that idea of why we're going to read more fiction. Yeah. So I think the best people, the most entertaining people, in terms of creativity, I think the best of them are the best storytellers. People that can tell a story in an effective way, in an efficient way, in a way that's charming and charismatic, and really bring you into a relatable world. I think those are the best creatives, in my opinion, and people that can really bring you along for the ride as a third party. Yeah. I think fiction reading, it kind of really embeds that in your spirit. I think all the best storytellers, they grew up in families where everyone is a good storyteller already.
Yeah.
And that's over the years of whatever. It could be verbal storytelling, it could be written storytelling, it could be from the TV, the theatre, whatever. All of these storytelling mediums, I think those lead to people who are very well-rounded, people who are not just looking at the world in a way that's like, this is the best way to do things. They're looking at the world in a way where they're empathetic, their understanding of other characters, their understanding of what makes someone do things, what motivates someone.
The human psyche.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like you said, that idea of the Master Aemon, whatever it's called, Mr. Aemon, advising Jon Snow, and it resonating with you as a reader, which is very interesting when you think about it. That's technically the writer directly speaking to your character. Like, these are the kind of things where I feel like it's very important to read fiction to get more of that in your heart, like, because that's what we're lacking. I feel like in society right now, a lot of us are really lacking that. And I think the best, the people that are doing the best in terms of creative storytelling in society, they're people who really consume this kind of content and have embedded it in their personality and
absolutely
have allowed themselves to become really witty in that way, because they have such a big database in their head of all these different stories, you know?
No, absolutely.
All these different characters.
To be fair, that's a really good point that you were saying, because I think also to touch up on real good art as well can also change you in terms of like impact upon you, and it can make you either realize yourself, who you are, how you are. Like I remember like Peaky Blinders, Thomas Shelby's character. Now there are so many like TikTok edits, like people actually talking about his character. So many people that are relating to him. Even though sometimes you could say he's quote unquote not a good character, he kills, he does this and that and whatever, he's like part of a gang and but like he has a couple traits about him. For example, like he's heartbroken, stone-hearted, all this kind of stuff here, and he's got a lot of trauma. He's dealing with all of that, but at the same time, he has to pull it all together for his family. And there's like a lot of men out there that was relating to that, not necessarily the killing aspects of it, but like having so many flaws within them, but having to sort it out and mold themselves together for their family to still be looked at as a beacon of like, okay, this guy will get me through it. But the guy that is getting you through it, if you unpack him, is going through it right now. He needs someone that like will help him get through it. But he understands. I think now it's like a lot of this stuff. That's why like the red pill thing became so big and so massive, because a lot of guys don't know, like, a lot of the times who they kind of are. Or like, there's that sense of like, okay, I have to have a family, I have to have the money, I have to look after the family, I have to do this, I need to make it. I don't know if I can make it, but I have to make it. And now all of this thing is coming in, but then you have to have a brazen face of like, you know?
You have to be, you have to put up a brave face, poker face.
But now they're seeing this brave face guy, but he's actually going through it. And they're like, oh, wow, so even he can go through it.
Exactly.
Oh,
that's where characters and stories like that are so well written can really impact who you are. And it makes you have a sense of ambition, aspiration. Like the dreams that we grew up dreaming, like why we want to become creators, mainly because we consume this kind of content. We saw these characters and we want to be, like, kind of be involved in that world, I guess. And I think that idea of having role models that aren't technically real people, but you can see the lessons that they've learned and the lessons that even though is fake success, obviously, because it's fictional. But it's still something to aspire towards. And because they're written in such a clever way, they make characters very likable, even if they are technically distasteful people who have done distasteful things, right? So I think that's where it's very important that we kind of encourage that and keep on pushing that method of thinking, you know?
Because I think a lot of people just dismiss fiction, like, that's all,
but
like,
all their favorite shows come from books.
All of it comes from it, but like it feels like it's not adding anything to them. That's the issue with it. It's like, well, when I can learn about Get Rich Poor Dad, whatever that book is called, like, why would I?
You know what's funny? I want to do a series where we review these kind of like well-known.
Oh, the Get Rich.
It's called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
But like, no. But what I was saying was, it's like they'll like read that, but they'll be like, yeah, what's the point? Why am I going to read like a fiction book? It's got nothing.
And there is like, that trauma of being forced to read in school when you didn't really enjoy it.
There is that trauma, but also I feel like it's like that trauma would kind of lead you to not reading anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but now it's kind of like even audibles and stuff like that of like just actual fiction, just learning and understanding the human nature of like, this is a guy going through it or like struggling, and that's how he comes out of it.
That's the perfect way of thinking about it. Like the best writers, they're the real psychologists.
Yeah.
They can really analyze people and unpack them and tell their stories in such a clever way that you're like, how did this person think of that? I think that's
there's a lot going on. There's world building, there's this and that.
Exactly.
Like, the intricate sciences of it is a lot, but like it's compressed and in a way that's like you can understand it.
And that's the funny thing.
This is how we're going.
Sorry, before like I'm interrupting you because I'm really deep in this topic, because the funny thing is a lot of these non-fiction self-help books now, they follow the theme of case studies. They basically tell stories. Like the best ones are the ones that tell stories because you relate to them. Like, oh, this guy, for example, what was it called? The Dale Carnegie book. The recent one we read, How to Stop Worrying. He gave so many different examples of different guys that are just going through it.
Yeah.
But they're all stories in themselves. When you think about them, like, but they're real people. But that's where like the best non-fiction books are now becoming storytelling books regardless. So why don't you just take that extra step and then read a bit of fiction and enjoy it a bit more as well, rather than it just being a pure learning experience, you know? It can be something that comes up with entertainment as well. So yeah, that's why I feel like we do need to push that a bit more.
No, absolutely, 100%. But initially what I was saying with the Whoop Watch, yeah. So one of the Ali Abdaal books, like I was saying, in terms of like sustaining and the endurance.
I can't see.
I don't know. It's not bloody previewing me, but it is what it is. No, so like talking about sustaining yourself, not going through burnouts, not, you know what I mean, how do you kind of do that? And a lot of the time was sleep, which was one of my problems, right? So now I've got this thing here.
When I said that you're up this morning, you replied straight out.
Absolutely.
Like, whoa.
That's right. But to be fair, so there's this thing that also tells you, which is strain, right? So which is how much you've worked throughout the day, how much your body's gone through, etc. Right? And once it does that, it then kind of calculates how long you should sleep to kind of, you know, compensate. And then if you fall below that, it tallies up your sleep debt. So now, like I said, I owe months. Now I know how much I owe, you know, which is actually 53 minutes, which is not bad. So like now it's kind of like, so then when I wake up in the morning, I know how deep I slept. I know how light like all this kind of stuff. But the main thing I know is how restorative it was, like how much recovery I got in that sleep. Funny enough, today was one of the worst ones. Funny enough, I got like 25%. Usually it's kind of like 65, maybe 70.
When did you start using it?
A week ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so still kind of...
But you were ill that week anyway.
I was, yeah, so that's why I think the sleep was good.
Yeah.
It was hitting great.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to have to see how it is.
Yeah, I didn't pick up one single phone call this week.
I was, mate...
It's going through it.
Doorstep of death.
Oh, wow, you fella.
No, but like... So that's kind of what it is, man. It's kind of like, okay, cool. Now I guess I learned from having the highlights, picking one thing, sticking to that thing like as a task, and then recovering properly, sleeping well, all that kind of stuff, to be able to sustain it instead of having a creative burnout, which I feel like is on the horizon for you, my friend. It is.
But you said creative burnout.
Creative burnout. So yeah, but the burnout is everything.
Yeah, but
which is why I was trying to tell you to get a Whoop.
Creative burnout is different from the normal burnout.
Nah, it's all the same thing, bro. One burnout is a big burnout.
Creative burnout is different, bro.
Creative burnout, yeah, but like,
because that's the idea.
If you work yourself
of not being able to produce ideas.
Yeah, but sometimes you could just be like calm, normal, and then you just might not have the idea either. But what I'm saying,
that's normal. That's just normal life.
But that's what I'm saying. So what?
But creative burnout is when I feel like you could either consume too much or you've produced too much. Yeah. And now you're in the between gap. Yeah. Where you now need to get some inspiration or you need a rest from creating. Yeah. And that's where I feel like creative burnout is.
You don't think it can also come physically? I think both are alike.
But I think like normal, like just day-to-day burnout can come physically and mentally. But I feel like creative burnout, just might be creatively burned out, but you're still doing your day-to-day activities normal, and you don't feel like too physically burnt.
I hope not, bro. I'm just out here looking out for you, man.
Creative burnout is about inspiration, like lack of inspiration for me. That's what it is. But burnout, yeah, I do feel like it's approaching.
Look, because the thing is, every time you said you're not gonna have a burnout, you've had one.
You know when you travel to a new country and then your friend says you're now in Belgium, you're now in yeah. That's why I just entered that. You're now in creative.
No, because you know what it is. I think sometimes you have the ability, like I said before, to do wonders for like in a burst amount of time. It's like a flipping nuclear fusion, and then it dissipates as it goes along. And then somewhere down the line is like,
you know what it is, yeah? You know the Flash, yeah? Have you seen the Flash villain? It's like a zombie-looking Flash kind of thing. Yeah. I feel like I'm the Flash, and there's that zombie
behind him.
Yeah. But I know that. But in terms of like lessons that I've learned this year, I know that I got a burnout coming, right? That I can see it in the mirror. Yeah. I can see it coming. But for me right now, it's just the place in life I am. Like I'm trying to leave my day job. Like, I feel like I'm finally ready. Like I've learned a lot of lessons in terms of what's the worst that can happen. Not in terms of burnout, in terms of like taking risks.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm ready to take a risk in terms of jumping from my stable career somewhere more unstable and riding the choppy waves of life that wherever it will take me. Right. But. Yeah,
but can I just
I'm ready to sink. I'm ready to sink or swim, you know?
On that note,
yeah.
The only reason why I'm bringing up the burnout thing is because, like I said, he produces a lot in a very short amount of time, right? And the best way to encapsulate all of that is one time we went canoeing.
Oh, God.
One time we went canoeing, and obviously my canoe, the 3 that I was with, were all safe because I'm a natural fisherman. But him,
you're a fisherman.
It didn't tap into his Somali Ocean, you know what I mean? So his canoe capsized, and whilst everyone was like hanging around, this guy was like saving people, bringing them out of the lake, holding them up. The canoe like went under and all this other stuff, and he's flipping over the canoe just to save it as well, even though they couldn't like reboard it.
Yeah, I feel like he was a person as well. You ain't going down.
And then we had like our friends that were like on these little kayaks, and they were going back to like get people for help, and obviously they were faster, but he was like, nah, I'm going as well. So he's trying to acrobat it all the way to the thing, and then the guys,
it's like 100 meters away, but you're obviously in a lake, so it's swimming.
He was, his eyes were everywhere. He was like, who needs to be saved? Oh man, and that's what it is.
How does that encapsulate burnout?
No, because what I'm saying is, in a very short, maybe I think 6 months is your sweet spot.
Yeah,
he will do absolute wonders, and then after that 6 months, he's like, yeah, that's me, daddy. Hey, hit you now.
You know, it's like
tired, bro.
It's like, you know, it's like in the football pitch, I sub myself off. Sub myself off. I give myself a 6 month ban. Oh man. But you know what it is right now. I know it's coming.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it right now. I've come to the conclusion, the decision that I'm not gonna do anything creatively right now, other than the podcast right now what we're doing and like just reading books and stuff. I'm not doing anything creative. I'm just taking it easy.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is I'm working 2 jobs right now. Yeah. So my wife can say my man got 2 jobs. It's the main reason. But I'm working 2 jobs, which has been very interesting for my sleep schedule and stuff. Oh, mate, it's been very interesting.
All over the
Funnily enough, I feel like I think naturally I'm losing weight.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not eating regularly and stuff.
Yeah.
But also in terms of sleep, I'm actually waking up earlier and sleeping at a more regular time, funnily enough.
Oh, so this is
funnily enough. Yeah, interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because by force, I know if I don't sleep at this time, it's going to be peak. Okay. In the morning, I got to be up for work again.
Yeah.
So what I tend to do, I'll finish the day job, I'll relax for 1 hour or whatever, and I'll go do the night shift, and then I'll come back and I'll just relax by watching a video or whatever. But in the day job as well, because I'm like I said, I'm planning my escape route, I'm kind of taking it easy. I'm not like killing myself for it. I'm doing everything that's asked of me, but then I'm I'm doing those things so efficiently that in order for me to have a downtime during that day job, so I'll just bang out whatever. I'm working from home more times, trying to get me to come in a bit more. So it's a bit tricky one. But in my downtime, I'll just go chill in my living room, play games, whatever. So I still feel like my brain's getting a bit of rest sometimes. But the idea for me is just to finish my notice period and then start taking it easier after. But just spend the next couple months, which is it's gonna be three long months. But the idea isn't for me to produce anything creatively right now. I don't feel like there's a need for it. Like that's the one thing that I've learned is just like put things on the back burner, like you said, make time. The highlights right now for me is just finish the day job and then just save a bit of money. So I'm not really like pushing myself to have a goal right now. And I feel like I've really come away from that thinking. Where the one thing that I'm lacking on is probably exercise. Like I'm not exercising enough. Like I'm not feeling health. I'm not feeling great health. But I'm still trying to be nutritious. I'm like eating good food. I'm trying to avoid junk food in general. Because I know if I do that, then the morning might be hell for me. Like if I eat some junk food, I know.
It's all tying in.
So like I'm balanced. I think I'm balancing myself in a precarious way. I'm on a tightrope and I've got several plates in my hands. But I feel like once I pass that period, I'll only be working one job, and then the next phase for me will be to start pushing creative content again properly. But just with that focus and not working a job that's very mentally draining, which it is right now. Because as it is right now, because I'm so mentally drained, I don't have any creative inspiration regardless. I'm already in a creative burnout, is what I would say. Right? So I guess because I'm already in a creative burnout, I guess I ain't so scared. So reach the destination. I ain't scared of what's next, man. Well, what goes next, I don't know. But who knows, man?
As long as you can efficiently, you know what I mean, sort yourself out. That's what matters.
As long as I survive, you mean? But like, what's the worst that could happen, man? What's the worst that could happen, man? But I guess for me, I'm in a bit of a transition phase in my life. But in terms of like lessons learned, there's a lot of these things that we've covered over the last few months that have really helped me settle down to a point where I am now accepting of the fact that I can't do everything. I'm working 2 jobs, which is a potential destination burnout. But like one of them is very mentally draining, and the other one is just physically draining. But it kind of gives me a breather from the mental side of things, where I actually have a lot of time to think about myself now. I'm actually just like randomly, like if I'm on long trips or whatever, on the second job, I'm just listening to podcasts. And like I was listening to one the other day, I was just telling me some really interesting stuff. Like one of them yesterday, I was like, damn, that's a great quote. He said, become the cavalry. The cavalry is never coming for you. It just means that you always have this idea, one day I'll meet some millionaire, I'll meet this, someone will just give me a handout where I'll make it, like just from that basically. Which happens to a lot of successful people. They get that hand up somehow. But that usually comes from they've already started putting the work out. They've already started doing things. You know, like you can't just expect like one day or dream one day that someone's just gonna come and give you a helping hand because of it. So like I'm getting a lot of time to think about these kind of things myself, and like just accept the state that I'm in, and accept that like I still have a future, and like I can still change things around. There's nothing like it's too late to do this, it's too late to do that. I'm actually in a position now where I feel like I could really go anywhere in terms of career right now. Like I'm thinking about potentially going back to a uni degree, but I'm just thinking about it, you know. But I'm open to the ideas. Like I'm not scared of uncertainty or the risk anymore. So I feel like I'm in a good place in that regard, honestly. Where it'll go, God knows. We'll see. We'll see. But I feel like a lot of the lessons we've learned, like things like how to stop worrying, but like several principles they have in there that I've actually started using on a day-to-day basis. Like, what's the worst that could happen right now? What facts do I have? And like, if I have those facts, what's the worst that could happen then? Right. So I'm trying not to worry about so many things. That's where I feel like stop worrying. Feel good productivity, like and make time have been really impactful in terms of just the way I think. Like one of the key concepts of feel good productivity was about confidence, right? Do things with confidence. Imagine how someone confident would do it, even if you aren't. And that will kind of sustain itself eventually, but fake it till you make it kind of vibe. So I'm kind of pushing that a bit more. I think that's helped my confidence quite a bit. I feel like I'm talking with a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
Talking more assuredness. I'm not worrying so much about what people are thinking while I'm speaking.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, these are all interesting things that I think we've picked up over the last 6 months that have kind of stuck with me anyway.
Yeah.
But obviously, like I said, fiction, I really want to read more fiction and get into it.
Yeah.
So I've been downloading a few audio books that are more fiction related than self-help books, and I might want to start reading a bit more in person as well. But right now, I think I'm not in a position to read as much as I would like, so I'm listening more than reading. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much
absolutely
me.
I think as well, one thing I've been doing a lot more is just writing. There was like this sort of, I wouldn't say like book. Well, I mean, I was trying to do like a 20 chapter one, just trying to, you know, get the pen going again, exercise juices flowing. Got to like actually 16 chapters, which was a lot better than I thought I would have. You know what I mean? But I think that comes across of just a lot of the type of stuff that the stop worrying aspects of it. Whereas before I'd be stuck on chapter 2, because I'm like, this chapter wasn't strong enough to bloody be good enough. So therefore,
so
I don't know.
Stay on it and revisit,
revisit, and then never getting anything done.
Yeah.
But then now actually being like, okay, well, I'm gonna always be doing this forever. So how about if it didn't work out? And then weirdly enough, that settles you down to be like, okay, yeah, you know what, this is just you having fun again. You know, there's no real pressure. It isn't like I've got a publisher on my neck telling me I have to do this other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But one thing I have realized as well, which led me to journaling again, even stuff like I said, when I was talking about Kill the Boy and stuff like that, and is writing.
Yeah.
Writing, honestly, is I think is such a crucial exercise that I don't think a lot of people do. Like, we read a lot, but we might not write a lot. And you might just be like, writing what? It could just be a journal, it could be thoughts, it could be anything.
Yeah.
But when you're writing it down, you're like, in a way, almost clinically breaking down your thoughts. And what you're thinking here, weirdly enough, is not the same on page, because when in your brain you're thinking like 10 times the speed rate, but you can only write like 2 times the speed rate.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like a thought overlapping a thought.
Yeah.
And you can't write a thought overlapping a thought on page because it doesn't make it.
Huh? You've been thinking a lot, huh?
Yeah, no, because it doesn't like translate. Like, I can't tell you here, read this. You'd be like, what? Because I'll just be thinking of so many different things. But then it funnels all of that into like a cohesive way upon which people can understand. And then the more you do that, the more you'll be able to understand your own thoughts and be like, okay, this is what I meant. And then it leads to, this is why, this is another angle to kind of like look at it. So like, again, like, so I've been writing, and that's been, as far as a creative thing, helping me out in many ways.
That's where it's funny that I'm doing 2 jobs now. The second job is more mind-numbing, but it's giving me so much time to think, where I feel like I'm producing creative ideas in my head that I haven't had a rate that I've not had for years, because the day job is so draining. What I would do normally before was just go and fill my mind with like
just what,
or just entertain myself with stuff, like just watch YouTube videos, bang out YouTube videos, like I said, YouTube addict. Previous
you know what, I think YouTube, mate, you're the perfect consumer.
Trust me, man.
You're like, no, I didn't even know it was like this.
When they pulled the YouTube Premium out of the pocket, oh mate.
Nah, YouTube Premium is
it's like a pair of shoes that I never want to let go, you know. No matter how ragged out it gets. But yeah, man, like I think just filling my idle time, I became very good at that.
Yeah. And that's what they were saying. We need the constant stimulants doesn't give you the chance to actually come up with organic ideas
and have real meaning in your life. You just feel like that's where the time flies, because you're just living day by day and you don't know where the time has gone, and like, you don't have any accountability of that. And I think we have all these like red pill males, like you said, like that are talking all this stuff about delete TikTok and all this because it isn't killing your brain and all this. But yeah, in a sense, like a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So Like things like that, it really does have meaning. I would say like you don't have to delete everything. Like just I think you really have to pace yourself with what you consume, and people don't do that enough.
Yeah.
And that's what I've failed. I would say over the last couple of years, where because of the nature of my work, I've always kind of I've always paced myself in a bad way, where I was either consuming too much or I'll consume nothing on purpose to try and like detox, but then I'll burn out and then I'll end up back in the same cycle, right? So now I'm just trying to pace myself a bit more, be a bit more realistic. Every now and then, like I've deleted all the social media apps from my phone, but every now and then I just go check on them. Every now and then, like I contemplate deleting YouTube from my phone, but I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I was like, nah, that's too much. That one's staying. Yeah. But like all the social media apps, I'll delete them. I'll check on them every now and then. But there's some balance there now. Where I don't feel like I'm affected by all the different thoughts of all these different people. That's what it is. People like there's so many different thoughts that you're consuming, and so many different opinions that you get to a point where you're just burnt out. Yeah. And like you're tired, especially like when there's a lot of negative stuff going on in the world. You really start like feeling negative constantly because of that. Like every time you go on social media, you're seeing the same negative things.
You just know, oh, this is what it's about.
Or you're just watching nonsense all the time, and your brain's gonna be filled with nonsense. So it's funny, like that it kind of doesn't fit the aesthetic productivity vibe, but that's what it is. That's the real harsh reality, I guess.
And one thing as well is kind of like I was like I said, I was into like this whole sleep thing for a minute, because I think everything's just about bettering yourself. So I'm trying to take one step at a time. You know what I mean? Before I get to the physical part, I just need to sort my sleep out. But another thing was kind of like, again, writing. Why I bring it up is like, so when you're going through your phone and you're just constantly stimulating your mind, what will happen is you won't give your brain that chance that it usually has to like be idle and run around and like think about other stuff, especially if you're creative, coming up with different ideas or whatever have you. So only time you're off your phone usually is just before you're going to sleep. And then at that point is when your mind just starts racing nonstop with all the things that it should have been doing during the day now come up. And it's like, not only maybe it might be creative things, it might be like, oh, I should have done this. Or I should buy this thing. I should grab this thing, because you never gave yourself that time to process and all of that kind of stuff. So whenever it gets to a point, I just write all the creative stuff out, just put it in, and then that's kind of like relaxed the sleep a bit, because I'm like, okay, I don't have to think about it now because I've taken that time out to already write down any ideas, all that kind of stuff that I might have.
Yeah, good habit to build. Another thing that I've kind of like why I'm kind of covering this. So I mentioned a few times I bought a sewing machine a few months ago and I haven't used it yet. Still in the box.
Yeah,
right?
Goodness.
The other day I was listening to a podcast and saying like, why do we attach so much? It wasn't even a podcast, it was a YouTube video. Why do we attach so much meaning to starting things? Yeah. Because for me, in my head, I want to do an unboxing video. I want to do an unboxing video of the sewing machine. I want to do a video where I want to make content out of it. When I first started sewing, the first thing I made, my progression of, like, in my head, there's the idea that I need to show my progression from start to finish because I want to be a content creator. And like hobbies, I would say, have died out so much because of that now. Like, everyone's trying to make content about their hobbies, and everyone's being encouraged to do that, to grow their personal brand and all this stuff. Where I feel like we just need to do more. Like if we like something, we don't have to monetize it immediately. Like why is that the natural inclination nowadays?
That's that's
the red pill thing as well. Like they're always pushing this. Be productive as much as you can. Try and do learn several side hustles at the same time, so you can make more money.
Get the money.
Like, these are the kind of things where like aesthetic productivity comes in. Like we need to slow down, find that time in our free time where we're not being idle with our time. Be real intentional about your hobbies. Pick up something that you enjoy for the sake of enjoyment and learn it and enjoy it and share it when you're ready to share it. But you don't have to document the whole thing, which is me speaking to myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
that's a good point. But I feel like you should document that one though.
I mean,
I feel like that would be such a sick idea. Imagine seeing the progression between you being whack to being
exactly. So that's the thing. I want to do that. Right.
Other stuff maybe. I mean,
but the things that come along with with content creation, get a good mic. You have to have a good mic with it.
You don't, bro. You could do it on TikTok.
So I'm thinking right now, I'm just gonna slap my camera on.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if the lighting is crap.
Yeah.
If there's clues all over the floor.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta get over the worries.
What?
Damn right.
Coffee
But we
stains
do
all
have
over
to
my
wrap
shirt.
it up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You should definitely do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Just get the phone on the microphone. You don't need to do anything more than that, and people will love it. Slap on TikTok as well. You don't have to make a big YouTube video.
Yeah, that's the plan.
But ladies and gentlemen, sorry to
Cut you.
cut you guys off, but we do have to run. But it's been
Absolute pleasure.
absolute pleasure, and this has been our little 6-month review.
Think about where you are.
Yeah,
Think about where you wanna go.
and let's try and end this year off on an absolute high,
Aesthetically.
aesthetically. Damn right. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace out.
Keep moving, keep growing, keep learning. See you at work.